Yo, what's up, guys? It's your buddy Dustin from Blue Collar Gear Review. Coming today with a sort of a shootout, if you will. Not really, because those are sort of cheesy. Happen to have currently in the studio a handful of NoiseGates, either on loan or for reasons. I'm actually sort of building a small pedal rig using a handful of pedals and a power amp little deal for those snatch and go type gigs. If you just need something small. But you don't want to take your entire head somewhere. But you're looking at something portable, something easy. So while I was building that, obviously I want to put a NoiseGate in that mix. And I started reading online about a couple different NoiseGate options. You have all your big players, ISP sitting over here. You have your Boss NS2, some of those things. Discovered a few other ones that I've never really tried in the interim. One being the TC Electronics Iron Curtain. We'll get into that in a moment. And the MXR SmartGate, which we'll also look at that one a bit more closely. I've already been messing with these guys, A-Bing each of them to one another. Already have an opinion of which one I like better than the others. However, I will say, and I will go ahead and sort of spoil, if you watch the whole video, please do, but I will say that the ISP does always kind of stick out as the leader in the pack of all these testing type things and applications. I have one on my motherboard that's off camera here. But for a simple pedal rig from guitar to power amp to speaker cab, any of these NoiseGates will function and do that job kind of well, actually, surprisingly well. I'm going to get into it, and I'll show you guys kind of some up close stuff, but I'll go ahead and tell you that the ISP for me in my ear and hearing the tonal impact in the room, the ISP seems to be the most transparent. I've sort of battled with the NS2 for a long time, just kind of using them, being a fan of them, being not really a fan of them, because at times they do seem to rob a little bit of tone. I've only found that it robs your tone, though, if you set it up in the 4-cable method using the input and output of the effects loop kind of circuit that's built into that. But if you just use it, run this straight in and out, and it performs as a NoiseGate in the front of an amp, it does fairly well. I will say that I bought the Iron Curtain from TC Electronics as a budget-friendly pedal. I got it for like 50 bucks. I again borrowed a couple of pedals. My buddy Ben loaned me the ISP, and he actually gave me the SmartGate because he didn't like it. A little bit more into those. So those two sort of behave similarly in terms of sort of a tonal impact, but it's so minute that I don't really think it's a problem for me and how I'm going to be using it. I will say also, the SmartGate has other features on it. I don't know how they work. I can't seem to make them do something different in any of the settings other than using it as a full gate. There's a 3-way switch we'll show you up close. And the only time I can actually get the SmartGate to gate is in one particular setup. I don't have a clue what the other settings do, and maybe somebody out there in YouTube land can drop a comment and say, hey, this is actually what these other buttons and knobs are actually for. For the purposes of the demo, I will be using a pretty high output guitar, Party Smith with bare knuckle Blackhawks in it, in front of a non-boosted 5150. As you guys all know, these are noisy amps, but they're monstrous sounding amps, and they do a really good job. Setup, real quick, setup. So we're just going to go into each NoiseGate and to the front of the amp. Obviously, if the pedal had another like kind of a 2-way circuit like the G-string version of the ISP, or the input and output of the return on the NS2, you could run this both in the front and in the back of the amp, sort of gating the power amp and the preamp simultaneously. That is where I think the NS2 sort of fails. I've noticed a lot of tone loss doing that. Off camera on another board, the G-string version of the decimator with those 2 channels, I absolutely love that. It works perfectly, but for this particular video, I'm just looking at in and out directly into the front of a preamp of a high-gain amplifier, again, for the purposes of being able to build a pedal platform rig and just sort of gating that and kind of keeping things quiet. So just a quick close-up look of the pedals that you have here. Just going to put it off to the side of the screen here, and you can see them up close, and then we're going to dive into each one of them. After we kind of go through them, they're all set about the same. want to just kind of do a quick run through of the sounds for each of them and see if there's a tonal difference in the audio for the recording, and see if you can hear it and see if anything kind of sticks out for you guys. Again, the purpose of this is really just, user-friendly gear at a user-friendly price point. Obviously, you get into the $100 and some odd range for the ISPs. The SmartGates are also in that ballpark. You can find them around $100 on Reverb. You can find some NS2s for about $80 on Reverb. The used websites. I bought the Iron Curtain brand new for $50. It was through Reverb, but it actually came in like a Sweetwater package, which is also weird. Besides the point, though, the point I'm making, or I'm trying to make, is you can spend $50, or you can spend into the hundreds of dollars, $100 range. And from what I have been able to kind of discern, is you get a very similar result. Again, this amp is not boosted. This is just front end of the amp in the preamp section. So without, without really kind of belaboring the point of what you can get for the price, let's see how they function and let that tell its own story. Again, I will spoil it and say that the ISP seems to perform better, followed closely in my ear, to my ear, by the NS2, and then the SmartGate and the Iron Curtain sort of behave very similarly, with just some extra features on the SmartGate that I don't know how to use. So that being said, let's dive in, let's take a listen, see what you guys think, and we'll go from there. All right, guys. Again, thank you for watching. Concluding thoughts here. I still feel the same way as I did in the intro. I have played with these pedals. I've borrowed some of these, and the NS2 actually lives on my bass player's board. Because he uses that all the time. Again, I think the ISP is kind of the leader of the pack in terms of both clarity and gate function. I noticed a little bit of tonal impact from the NS2, not so significant, but there is a little bit of to my ear, a little change. And then the SmartGate and the Iron Curtain, again, both seem to behave the same way. They seem to cut the similar noise from the preamp section to me. Just so you guys can see it, again, PRS with bare knuckle Blackhawks. These are super high output, hot pickups. Use them on purpose to push the front of the amp a little bit harder, with that extra gain saturation to make these gates work. Again, I thank you for watching, and I hope this is helpful. You can spend $100 and something, $80, $100 ish, and then you get into the $50 to $100 range, depending upon when you find these guys or where you find them. For me, and how I'm going to be using these, I know there's other ways to do it, but how I'm going to use them in a pedal board platform where I'm only using pedals and a Duncan power stage to run a cab, having that gate just in front of the pedal chain and working with the preamps that I'm using for that, they work just fine. All of these work fine. They work great. Some are a little better than others, but for that application, I think that I'm very satisfied. I bought the Iron Curtain for that, for that rig. I could easily, obviously, be happy with any of the rest of them, just at a budget-friendly price point, and I don't want to kind of break the bank. Depending upon when you watch this, we're in the holiday season of 2023, so while feeding my gear addiction, I also didn't want to break the bank, kind of buying pedals while I'm buying, Christmas gifts and stuff for others. So again, thank you for watching. I appreciate your follows, likes, and subscribes. You don't have to do that. I'm not begging for that. You guys share if you like or comment if you like. I will ask, as I've mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you can tell me how this damn SmartGate works and what these other buttons and stuff do, please leave a comment, because I can't seem to make it do anything other than function in that one mode and that one setting. So anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.